Here we go. Does it look like it's doing anything?
It's changed from start record to stop record, so
Okay,
that's a good thing.
good.
You're a smart guy.
Untouched.
Okay, good evening. This is the Harwich Finance Committee meeting. It is Thursday, September 12th, 2024 at 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. I'll just notify everyone who's out in the audience, which there are none, by the way, but just officially, that if you intend to record the meeting, as we are recording the meeting, then you should advise or consult with the chairman before you do so. We have no one in attendance in the audience, so we'll call the meeting to order. Here in the small hearing room at this meeting, we have Scott Norm, Michelle Gallucci, Bob McCready, Peter Hughes, myself, and remotely we have Mark Kelleher. So we do have a quorum, and I do declare that we have a quorum. Okay, so the first item of business, approving the minutes of August 8th, 2024. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I'm just taking notes in case the thing doesn't work. Okay, any discussion of the minutes? Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote.
Aye.
Abstain.
Abstain, good, Bob.
Aye.
Peters and I. Mark?
Aye.
Okay. So let me just make a note. Okay, under new business, Mark, this is your topic. You passed around some information on the Association of Town Finance Committees, their annual meeting. I believe it's in Sharon. And what can you tell
November
us?
2nd, I believe Scott's going, Michelle said she's going. I think Dana said he's going, and myself, so we've got 4 people going. Anyways, unless somebody else wants to go as well.
Okay, now are all of you members, or do you need to apply for membership? I'm just asking.
I read the website as you don't have to be a member.
But you pay more to go if you're not a member?
Oh, maybe it's like 75 instead of 60, so
I don't know.
I paid,
if it is, I'll join in the meantime.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you know.
we attended last year and it was $65, but I don't know if I was a member at that time. I think you signed me up, Mark.
What's that, Michelle?
Are you a member?
No, I believe so. I get all the correspondence, and I know Dana is a member of one of the committees on there. So I think we can go if there's a membership charge above and beyond going there. It's very minuscule. And just so everybody knows, the town reimburses you. If maybe the next meeting I'll get the forms, and I'm hoping we can carpool, and they'll reimburse us for mileage as well.
Yeah, I think that just from an image standpoint of the Finance Committee, if you're going to go, it'd be good if you're a member. I mean, so I encourage that, and the town wouldn't reimburse you for doing that. So whether you do it online ahead of time or whatever you do, check it out, and that would be good.
It's 65 for dues paying ATFC members, 75 for non-members. So.
Okay.
So does the town pay for the membership?
The town will reimburse you for that.
No, what I'm saying is to
Yeah.
become a member.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, and then, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm happy to drive unless somebody else.
Okay, well,
wants
you
to.
guys can figure that
Yeah.
out. Right? So that's all good. All right? Anything else now? And by the way, do they have monthly meetings or quarterly meetings or something, Mark? I can't remember.
I think there was a spring meeting as well. Dana may go to some steering committee meetings, but generally, just this fall meeting and the spring meeting.
Okay, and did they meet during the MMA conference? Is it a separate entity, do you know?
I'm not really sure. When I've gone to the MMA, to my knowledge, we did not have an AFTC meeting.
Okay. All right, yep, go ahead.
I can say that they have excellent webinars that they have
Yes.
every month. So some of them have to do with, like recently, municipal law, They're having one soon about what to do with the opiate funds, you know, what can be done with the opiate funds. So if you are on the newsletter, you'll get those invites, and anyone can participate. They're great.
Good. Good. All right. All set on that one?
Yeah, I would, just one thing, Bob, it may be worthwhile joining for you guys, even if you don't go to the meetings, just because, as Michelle said, there's a lot of information that comes out in these webinars that you may be interested in at some point.
Okay, we'll check into that. Thank you. I had expected, the next item, I expected that the Finance Committee, that the Capital Outlay Committee might have met before this meeting, which I know they haven't. So we do have our two representatives, the FinCom to Capital Outlay Committee, you know, Scott and Mark. And I'm assuming you guys have not been summoned to a meeting or heard about a meeting, or when you could expect to be invited into the process this year.
Last year, our first meeting was September 28th. And it usually is instigated by Joe Powers getting in touch with the chairman, so I expect there'll be another couple of weeks before they get the ball rolling.
Okay, do you know if Rich is going to be the chairman, Rich Larios, or do you guys get together and vote a chairman?
Otherwise, I've had one communication with him about the 204 system roof, and he says he's going to bring it up. So he hasn't indicated to me that there's been any change.
Okay, all right. Well, you know what you guys got to do, right? You got to represent the Finance Committee, and we're going to look to you to give us your recommendations as you work through the plan. And I encourage you to ask all the questions you can ask when you're in that process, okay? All right, next on the new business was the, Dana had talked about wanting to take an action item to look at the revolving accounts. His concern, if I remember from town meeting, we have a lot of revolving accounts, and balances are starting to get up there as far as the spending authorities go. And he wanted to take a look at that. Now, when we met with the Board of Selectmen in a joint meeting back on June 24th, that was one of the topics we identified that we would be undertaking this fall. So I'm assuming that, I was kind of hoping Dana was going to call in tonight, but obviously he isn't. Once he gets back, I assume he'll get that going, because I think if we're going to do it, we should do it sooner rather than later, so it doesn't get us snagged up in the budget season and all that, which starts out the first of the year. Mark, you went away. Oh, there you are.
There you are.
Did you do something?
He's
Oh,
back.
poor network connection, okay. All right, so I will contact Dana. I know he's in Nashville now, and I'm probably home next week. Just to remind him that, and see if he's still interested in doing that. Okay, under old business, I put 204 System Financial Analysis document on here. I had given all of you a copy of what Scott and I put together, got some feedback, and then we got it to a point where at our last meeting we said, okay, let's pass it on to our liaison for validation of the numbers only. Now, the intent of that was because, you know, we have a finance director that just left, we have a new one coming in, we have some data that's identified in there that didn't exist or we couldn't get, or who knows what. We wanted to make sure that our liaison, through his contacts within, you know, the accounting department or 204 or the town administrator's office, had the opportunity to either dispute numbers, add to numbers, clarify numbers, whatever, before it went public. Now, my understanding is, at the selectmen's meeting the other night, I guess Jeff brought it up, and there was some reaction to why we were doing this. And Mark, I know you were there, maybe you could just enlighten us a little bit about what you heard or saw at that meeting.
Yeah, Jeff Handler brought up that he had, he had several topics that he had gone into, and one of them was 204, and he said, I think the board had just, within a day or two had received that report that we had done, or FinCom had done. And one of the board members said, I don't know why you're wasting your time. It's not it's not the role of the finance committee. So, and he said he wouldn't read it. So, that was some of the same things we've heard before. So, but again, a lot of them hadn't even had a chance to read it. So I think, by the next meeting, we'll get a little better feedback.
Okay, just so everybody here is clear, if you go back and look at the minutes of June 24, which I have a copy of here, we clearly had a discussion that was part of our improvement of communication meeting with the Board of Selectmen. Clearly had a discussion about the need to wrap up 204 as far as take all the numbers you can find from the last 5 years, put them together, make some sense out of it, and come to some conclusions, and then hand it off to the Board of Selectmen and say, here are recommendations, do what you want. It's very clear in the minutes that the Board of Selectmen endorsed that, in particular the chairperson. I specifically asked something like, do you want us to do it? And she said yes. They were too busy, those kinds of words. So we clearly, if someone thinks they're going out of our lane, we clearly had a coordinated effort with the Board of Selectmen, at least based on the June 24th meeting. So I feel very comfortable about that. And our document will stand once we get feedback on the numbers. There still is an opportunity, if anybody has any comments or wants to clarify anything, pass them on to me. And we'll incorporate it into a document that maybe as early as next month we'll vote on at the meeting here and say, okay, we're passing it on. So, okay.
Yep.
And basically, when you get all done with it, it is going to be a matter of, what do you call break even for the operation, whether it includes this or that or whatever. And the bottom line, in my opinion, is that the vast majority of their operating expenses need to go into a budget, and some of the expenses, like the part-time labor that they charge when you rent a room or the auditorium or the gym or something, should be collected and accumulated in a revolving account and paid out of that, because those are related to program-specific things. So that's what it's really all about. So, okay?
Yep.
So if anybody asks you, we did what we're supposed to do, and that is communicate with the Board of Selectmen in the proper way. Okay, and then we had another action item that was, if you recall, there was going to be a review of the FY 2024, I keep getting those mixed up, budget, actual versus what the budget was for the year ending June 30th, right? There was going to be a 4-person review team. Finance committee, Bob agreed to be our person there. 1 selectman, town administrator, and the finance director, if I remember correctly.
I think that's correct.
Yeah, and I assume no action has been taken on that at this point in time.
Actually, let me step back. I had a conversation a week or so ago with our liaison, who was going to did assure me that this would be brought up, and has since responded that he still got us as being an item on his list. What has intervened since our conversation was Monday night's select board meeting with the temporary, or whatever we're calling them, interim finance director, giving us some sense of closing. And what the people at that meeting were told anyway was that he would have the books closed for October 4th. That cash reconciliation was not completed yet, but would be done to get us to a October 4th closing of the books. Then he went on to comment on reporting on for getting free cash certified in the next couple of weeks later. But in terms of our interest in this item, I think that gives us the most current idea of a of a benchmark for final numbers being identified.
Yeah, and I'm assuming there'll be a push, not necessarily on that task, because that affects more next year's budget as we prepare it, which will start, sometime late this fall. But more importantly, certification of free cash and the determination, can we then go to a fall town meeting?
Yes.
And
that
fund
was-
things like Brooks Academy and whatever
Right,
else.
that was a major topic of Monday night's meeting.
Yeah. Okay, good. So you
That's-
keep us,
That's where we are, keep you
Okay.
up,
all right.
up to date.
The intent is still there and we need to do it.
The
so-
intent is absolutely still there.
Yeah, okay, all right. Any other old business?
Just a question on that 4-person team. You said someone from the select board, FinCom, finance director, and who else?
Town administrator,
Oh, the TA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
okay. All right, other. Michelle, you had some other.
Oh, yeah, so all my others, well, some of my others have to do with the website. So I noticed maybe we should update the website to include the 23 documents now, to replace the 22 documents that are on there. The 21 and 22 documents are on there.
I also noticed, by the way, I printed out the agenda for this meeting and I noticed that under Finance Committee, they still have Angelo there as a member of the
saw that too.
Finance Committee.
Yeah.
So,
That was another comment of mine. So one was updating the documents with the most recent, updating the team, the committee members, so Angelo's, yeah. And then I noticed that our minutes aren't posted, only our agenda. I did reach out to Mark about this. So where it says agenda and minutes, so I was interested in reading some of the past minutes
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
missed.
Yeah.
So I went onto the website and I noticed the minutes aren't posted.
Okay.
So I don't know how they get posted or who's responsible for that, but
Well, the minutes ultimately, if I remember correctly, Mark, don't our minutes, once they're completed and approved, don't they go back to the clerk?
I thought, I'm not really sure on that. I thought, once we approved it, Judith Molstead would take it from there, but I don't know for sure.
Okay, would you?
I could check into that.
Okay, close the loop with her on that, please. 'Cause
Yeah.
she does a fantastic job. I mean, I'll have minutes like tomorrow
oh yeah.
of this meeting.
Yeah.
And we get those flipped around and we keep current with them, trying to keep up with every month, so.
It's kind of sporadic, if you look at it, some of them are there, but most of them are not. Like, a few in 2023 are posted, the minutes.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
I'm giving the website team, I guess I'll call it, a little bit of leeway because I know they flipped this thing into the 21st century kind of quickly, and I know they've been catching up to try and add more and more stuff. So someone refresh my memory, who on this committee was working with the website stuff?
I was.
You were, okay. So you're the contact with the tech person?
I'm fine taking up on that role if you'd like.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So, Mark, why don't you touch base with Judy on how the minutes get funneled, okay? And then get back to Michelle and tell her what your answer is. In other words, whether the website person should be doing it or how that all works, right? And then, Michelle, you clean up whatever else you see missing, and I guess the rest of us wander through the website in the next couple days if you can, or next week, and pass Michelle comments,
Yes.
okay?
So just to add to that, so you're right, so Thursday, January 11th minutes are on here. And then I don't see any after that. All agenda.
The whole springtime's not on there? Or there? Yeah. well,
Unless it's titled wrong. Hold on, let me see. Let me just look.
And the meetings and the minutes are all scrambled chronologically. They
Yeah.
used
Oh,
to
really?
be in chronological order. Now
Oh,
they're-
okay. No, that's not a good thing.
And I think it's an issue not just of the finance committee.
Mhm.
Okay, so it just might be some
But
cleanup.
it
to
would
do.
be good for us to know that, like,
Yes.
that's a work in process, or,
Yeah.
you know, or don't worry about it, we're taking care. We know it's a problem, you know what I mean? As opposed to, oh,
Exactly.
we don't want the FinCom minutes to be up there.
Because I missed I wasn't present to the last two meetings, so I said, well, I think I'm gonna go look at the minutes and see what happened at those meetings. And that's how I discovered. Now, the past meetings from the last meeting wouldn't have been there because they weren't approved, but the one before that should have been posted. Okay, so those minutes, I signed up for the alerts. I don't know if anybody else has signed up for the alerts, but I did sign up and I'm not getting them,
Well,
so.
that topic actually was brought up at the
Yeah.
select meeting
Yeah.
Monday night.
Yeah,
And it was brought up by Linda Sabula because she has not been getting her alerts. So that is being researched.
okay, good. That's good to know. Because I normally get alerts that our meeting is taking place.
Yep.
And I get alerts that the select board's taking place, or any other ones that I'm interested in. Okay, and my last agenda item was, what is the status on our email addresses for the town?
The same answer for the website.
All right,
It's the same group,
okay.
they're working through it.
Okay, so I'll work with them.
Yep,
Okay.
yep, that's appropriate, that's appropriate. Now, since you touched on, just barely touching the surface of Brooks Academy, I would just say under other that the group that was looking at Brooks Academy, what do we call it, an advisory group, or steering group, or interested parties, or whatever it was, it's called something like that.
Task force, I
Yeah,
don't know.
met once, and my recollection is that we were waiting for this meeting with the state on handicapped accessibility, whatever it was. There was going to be a hearing. We were going to ask for some sort of a waiver to get the building opened again, at least on a temporary basis. And then my understanding is now that the town administrator or somebody decided to cancel that meeting and pursue the thought that the building inspector can just issue some kind of a temporary permit that says use the first floor. And I think that's run into a snag or a hiccup, but I don't know any more about that. Scott, I know I haven't, I'm sure you haven't been invited to another meeting of the Brooks Academy group, and look forward to that at some point in time, particularly since at our last meeting, we talked about things like, you know, what are all the items that need to be done, what's the cost, what's the sequence, what's the time frame, and now if we're thinking about taking that to a fall town meeting, let's pretend it's Thanksgiving Day. It's not, but let's just pretend. That's a lot of stuff to put together between now and then, giving all the lead times you need for advertising and all those kinds of things. What I don't want to do is just say, oh, here's a number, we don't really know everything, but that's the number and that's what we're going with, and then we'll be back in the same situation a year from now saying, oh, we need more money. You know what I mean? I'd rather do this once and get it right, so.
Because the fact that just handicap access meeting was canceled is a completely separate issue from continuing the workflow that we were pursuing at that first meeting about making sure the specs were complete for the work that needed to be done.
Yeah.
And work on the timeline, so.
I do know that Megan, the assistant town administrator, went out on some type of extended medical leave, I believe. 6, 8, whatever, how many weeks. I'm not gonna get into that, but I think she would normally be the one that kind of pushed that along.
Okay.
And I'm not making excuses, I'm just saying that's the way it is.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay, all right. Do we have any other? The clock is wrong.
The clock
The clock
has
is
no
wrong.
We
battery.
need a battery,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, any other? No other? Okay, if not, we're gonna adjourn the meeting at 6:24, how's that? And I thank you all for participating. Anybody want to object to adjourning?
No,
Okay, good.
other.
I thank you all for coming tonight. It's important just from the standpoint of getting a quorum so that we can conduct our business, otherwise we end up with meetings you can't really do anything.
Yeah.
You want to hit the magic button over there,
The magic.
please? Michelle, do you want the minutes of last month's meeting?
Yes, please.
August?
Yep, thank you.
Well, it didn't do anything with one touch. Try again.